Hello everyone, my name is Jason and this is Netminder Review. So under the category of I did not see that one coming, Robin Lehner leaves Chicago, goes to Vegas, and Malcolm Subban goes to Chicago. So let's take a look at the goaltenders involved, not just Lehner and Subban, but also Fleury and Crawford, and try to maybe come to some sort of determination about what the ultimate goal of this deal may be, or what the ramifications of it may look like a little more long term. So Robin Lehner is 28 years old, and Marc-Andre Fleury is 35 years old. So is it possible that the Vegas Golden Knights are looking for their eventual replacement of Fleury? Well, it's hard to say. We don't know how many more years Fleury's going to play. Fleury is signed through the end of the 2021 season. And I mean, 35 is certainly on the downside of a career, but that's not to say that he couldn't play another 4 or 5 years. He's playing very well right now. His season statistics look like this. He's played 45 games so far this year. He's 25, 14, and 5 with a 2.79 goals against and a 906 save percentage. Now, compared to his career save percentage is 913, so he's down a little bit there, but not a ridiculous amount. And his career goals against is 2.57, so his 2.79 this year is not quite as good, but still, very, very respectable. And Vegas is, I believe, in first place in the Pacific, if I looked at the statistics or the standings correctly today. So, Fleury's playing well, Vegas is playing well. So they bring in Lehner. Lehner this season has played 33 games. He's 16, 10, and 5 with Chicago, with a 301 goals against and a 918 save percentage. Now, his career save percentage is also 918, so he's holding steady there. His career goals against is 273. So his 301 is not quite as good, but, there's a lot that factors into a goals against average more than just how the goaltender is playing. The team that they're on matters as well. So will Vegas be able to keep Lehner long term? Well, Lehner is an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. He signed the 1-year deal with Chicago for $5 million. And now, obviously, Chicago has moved on from him, sending him to Vegas. So if Vegas can sign a deal with him, then maybe that answers the question, depending on the length of the deal, on whether or not they see him as the eventual starting goaltender after the Marc-Andre Fleury years are over. Or maybe Vegas is looking at teams like Boston and Dallas, who have 2 top quality goaltenders, and are playing both of those goaltenders not an equal amount of games, but close. And maybe they're seeing a guy like Fleury and saying, well, at 35 years old, and next year, a year older, obviously, maybe we need to be able to give him more nights off. Maybe they want to go with a more true tandem situation where Fleury plays half the games, Lehner plays half the games, and look more like what we see in Boston or in Dallas. If so, then I would think that a Marc-Andre Fleury and Robin Lehner 1-2 punch in goal would be very formidable and give Vegas, that much better of a chance of having fantastic seasons as long as they've got the 2 of them. In addition to that, as Fleury's aging, there's always the question of health. Fleury may decide to play a few more years, but is he more apt to get injured, especially if he has to play a bunch of games, especially if he's playing, 60 games a year, 65 games a year? Is he more apt to get injured playing that many games? And if so, when Fleury goes down, clearly Vegas did not feel that Subban was their best option for backup for those times when Fleury couldn't play. Lehner clearly is a step up. Malcolm Subban, who is 26 years old, who is also a restricted free agent at the end of this season. Well, I say also. He is a restricted free agent at the end of this season, making $850,000 a year. Has played 20 games this year. He's 9-7-3. He's got a 3.18 goals against and an .890 save percentage. His career save percentage is .899, so his .890 is worse. But either way, even if he were having a normal year at .899, moving on to having a backup or a 1-2 punch of Robin Lehner with his .918 career save percentage and his .918 save percentage this year, clearly an upgrade. And so it makes sense for Vegas. I didn't see it coming, but I think it makes all the sense in the world. If Fleury gets hurt, they've got a much better option. If they want to play Fleury and Lehner equally, they're both very good goaltenders that can certainly earn wins for their team. And if they keep Lehner long term and are unable to keep Fleury beyond next year, or choose not to keep him beyond next year, then they've got a good go-to guy to take over. On the Chicago side of things, is Malcolm Subban going to be their backup behind Crawford? Crawford is an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. Does Chicago see Crawford as the long-term answer? Could Chicago try to go fishing into free agency this summer to find what might be their long-term replacement? Do they have someone in their farm system that they see as their long-term replacement? I'm not sure of the answer to that. Corey Crawford, like Marc-Andre Fleury, is 35 years old. He's played 32 games this season. He's 11-17-3 with a 2.80 goals against and a .915 save percentage. His .915 save percentage is just below his career .918, and his .280 goals against is a little bit worse than his career .244 goals against. So he's not necessarily having a banner year, but then again, Chicago isn't having a banner year. And I see so many Chicago fans that are posting in various, or not just today, but have been for a long time, posting in various social media and various locations that, Corey Crawford overrated, Corey Crawford not their favorite. I'm sure there are Chicago fans that love Corey Crawford, but I don't know that the fan base sees him as the goaltender of the future. And with him being unrestricted, I'm curious to know how the fan base would feel if Chicago tried to sign him for long term. Malcolm Subban certainly is not going to be your starting goaltender. And if it's not Corey Crawford, it's obviously now not Robin Lehner either. Who is it? I think it'll be really interesting this offseason to see the answer to that question. Who does Chicago see as their long-term answer for their goaltending situation? What do they do with Malcolm Subban? I said he's a restricted free agent at the end of this season. What do they do with him? Do they try to re-sign Corey Crawford? Do they go out and try to make a big splash in free agency this summer? Either way, I think that this move makes Vegas's goaltending situation, which was already good, look much better, and it just causes Chicago's goaltending situation to be more of an unknown. And I understand that Robin Lehner was a free agent at the end of the season, so there was no guarantee he was coming back to Chicago anyway. But we have a big unknown in the goaltending in Chicago, and at least for this season, a really strong goaltending tandem or starter and backup with Fleury and Lehner in Vegas. So that was a really interesting happening today. So leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you're a Vegas or Chicago fan, do you like this move? Do you dislike this move? Are you puzzled? Were you surprised? I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to this channel, and thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome night.